Welcome to this exclusive interview segment on Summit. A few days back, we had some members of the National Union of Food, Beverages and Tobacco Employees come on the program to talk about their misgivings on some issues in the union. And so we felt it necessary to visit the Union House here in Lagos to hear the other side of the story, because we want to have a balanced view of what is happening in the union. And so today I have with me the Deputy President of the National Union of Food, Beverages and Tobacco Employees here with me. Hello, sir.
Thank you very much.
Good to be with you today.
Thank you very much.
All
You're
right.
welcome.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I also have with me Comrade Mike Olanrewaju. He's the Acting General Secretary of the union.
It's my pleasure. You are welcome.
What led to them being aggrieved?
What led them to be aggrieved is about the Constitution. It is about the 2 years tenure extension. That tenure extension, it is extension. It has passed through all the organs, all the 2 organs of the union. That is delegate, National Administrative Committee, National Executive Committee, and conference. They have passed all the resolution back in the new tenure extension. And that tenure extension, it is not only for the national president. It goes across from unit, branch, and national level.
Our union, we are dynamic. We are operating and following our constitution with diligence. Our union, by the provision of our union, we normally have our National Executive Council meeting annually, every 12 months, according to the provision of the Constitution, while the National Administrative Committee hold forth in between, from time to time. They administer the union before the National Executive Council hold once in a year, while the Delegate Conference is scheduled to hold the quadrennial Delegate Conference every 4 years. However, there is a provision in the Constitution that should there be any need or any exigency, there can be emergency Delegate Conference, and that has, we have observed it in some other occasions when there was an of recent.
Sorry, please, I would like you to just give me a minute, because you are saying that you do not have factions.
Exactly.
But you have some members who came on our program, like I said, to air their misgivings about some things happening in the union. Now, I don't want you to play it down.
Okay.
Let's just face that reality, yes, that we already have people who have told the public that we have issues with the union.
Okay.
What is the issue? What are the issues?
In answering that your question, you agree with me? You cannot build anything on nothing. There can be, for a national leadership to emerge, there's a process. There must be conference where those people will emerge, and there was no. These people who say, I wouldn't know. Those people that claim they are factional leaders, they choose to be. Anybody can come and say it's anything. But as far as our constitution is concerned, the labor law is concerned, there's nothing like faction. I wouldn't know how they came about becoming national officers of the union.
All right.
Because they were never elected, they were never appointed in any forum known to law.
All right. Okay, now let's talk about the person of Comrade Oyelekun Lateef Idowu, who's the present president of the union. Now he has served as president for 3 terms through an election process.
Exactly.
Now, what are the notable achievements he has made to members of the union over the years that made him get re-elected for 3 consecutive terms?
Thank you very much. Sorry,
yes, let him take it first.
The question you asked, he has not served. He has served 2 tenures.
Okay.
He is still serving the 3rd one. We still have from now to December to even conclude that. So he's still serving. So the tenure have not ended. And he came on the first tenure he served was 2008. As of that time when he came on board, how I wish you have known this environment where we are seated now. Was like we only have a floor building serving as the National Secretariat with foundation laid since 1978, nothing there. But when he came on board, he has been a progressive person. I mean, somebody who's always pragmatic in action and decision. He was formerly the chairman of our branch in Coca-Cola, NBC. So he was able to make formidable changes there. He now decided under his leadership that he should be able to transform our union. And to God be the glory. He came in here. When he came, the fourth tenure of 4 years, he was able to establish event hall. This is the hall that is very close to us here. We have 2 halls of about 400 capacity, city capacity each, with a relaxation center upstairs, just to be able to augment the resources and the income of the union. Because everybody can know now, you cannot be stagnant if you are not proactive. Every organization, and you need to look for different sources of revenue so that for sustainability purpose. So he was able to achieve that. And the second tenure, that commenced from 2012 to this place. This our president. He was recognized for the kind of leadership trait in him. Whenever he attend CWC meeting of NSC, he was noted. And when NSC was trying to go into some investment too, he was choosing as one of those people that travel to China, to other places, to go and see what kind of investment labor could do. He was privileged to have been included in that process. Some of the hotels they stay in China discovered that were owned by 5-star hotels. She was encouraged. So if you know who own this in any way in this world, under this planet, then he started dreaming our union should be able to have something similar. And that 2012, I was privileged to have traveled with him. We had the program in USA, which took place in Baltimore. At the hotel we were lodged, it was owned by Maritime Workers Union. They call it MITAG. And it was owned to it's bigger than Lagos Airport Hotel in Lagos. When I looked at it again, this another the first one he saw was in China, 5-star hotel. Then we now say, okay, this one, no, this one. He now then he said no. He concluded that when he come back, he will come back to Nigeria to sell their debt to his members, the leadership, the administrative committee, so that let us try, even if it's a guest house, we should be able to put in place. Thank God for supportive and very understanding members. He has always been blessed with. He was able to convince them, and in 2013, we were able to have a hotel, a 4-star, have a 3-star hotel in Yorubega of about 80 rooms with elevator. Then it was commissioned in 2013. It started operation. And he now looked at it. Okay, looking at this one is not enough. We need to have something else, like water. You can see the other time when you come. Food. That water. Every hotel needs water. So he now decided that we have space there. Why don't we utilize it? So we now decided to build a water factory, the first owned by a union in Africa. Up to date, no union has been able to build a water factory in Africa.
Now, why do you think that there should not be an election, but a term elongation? That's the issue. That's what is causing the grudge from what we were told. So I'd like you to brief us on that.
Let me address that. Thank you very much. I want to let it know to you that in every part of the world, constitutions, there are constitutions, there are rules, but no constitution, even American constitution or any labor, even NSC, the one thing that is dynamic is constant change. There's no how everything will be embedded in constitution, and that is why the delegate conference of the union, they are there. They have the absolute, of power and authority. Those things that will further enshrine progress of the union. If it's not there, they have the power to introduce it. They have the power to include it, including even the delegate conference have the power to, even if you look at the constitution, to even dissolve the union, to change the constitution at any time. So that is it. But I want to let you know that you did ask that yes, it came in 2008. That our union constitution provided that if there are situations, maybe or forces, that the conference could be delayed for about 3 months, maximum 3 months. It is allowed to be delayed without giving any excuse, but it shouldn't be more than 3 months.
Sorry, please, I'd like it to be clear.
Okay.
You keep referring to a conference, but I am talking about an election.
That is what I'm telling you now. There can be no election. I want to differentiate the two.
Yes.
There is national coordinator delegate conference that take place every 4 years. That is why election take place.
Okay.
But we equally have provision for emergency conference. They are both having the same power and authority. They are conference of the union. Whatever decision taken there is final.
Okay, before I go to the reason why there's a delay in the election, I would still like you to clarify a bit about the 3 tenures that the president has had, but you said it's 2.
It's 2.
But the dates you are giving me are a bit contradictory, because you said the second tenure was 2008.
Yes, I wanted to explain that before you cut in.
Yes.
Yes, like it came in 2008.
And it's supposed to be 4 years.
4 years, which is 2012.
That's 1 tenure.
Okay, then the third one.
No, that's the second tenure.
The second one.
2008 to 2012.
It's fourth one. Then from there to 2016 is the second one.
Tenure, yes.
Then
2016.
The third one is now 2016 to 2020. But in between this period, there are provisions for 3 months extension. You get it? So that there are provisions for 3 months extension. And in fact, even the one of 2012 was even delayed to that 2012 February. So it has already been, there. So the last tenure, and in any way, when you take out of office, that's when your tenure start to read. The current executive and the National Executive Committee were elected on December 9th, 2016. So their tenure will effectively expire by December 9, 2020. So that's why I'm telling you that he has not finished serving the third one. He's still on the process of serving it. That's what I want to clarify.
Where does the issue of term elongation come in if the election is not yet due?
The issue of term elongation comes based on the performance on all these achievements we have mentioned to you. Because I could remember it was done at our National Executive Council meeting in Abuja, when the branch of the union that constitute the national, he raised a motion that based on the performance and the achievement of the president, he want to move a motion for extension of 2 years. It was deliberate. They put it on motion. Motion was moved and seconded.
Now, to the members who were suspended,
yes,
what exactly led to their suspension? And is it that suspension that made them go to court?
No.
Okay.
Let me clear that one again. You see, the members, like I told you before that, if we are here now, for instance, let's say this is a conference or this is a meeting, we all agreed to be having to take some decisions. All right. Then these are our constitutions. It's clearly spelled out. If you have any grievance or anything, what you should do. What brought about the go to court? Now there was, like I told you, while our president is serving the third tenure, if to say his retirement age can still permit him, he can go for another term. I even go for the 5th one, because our constitution is very open. There was no tenure limit, whether you can serve 4 tenures or 5 tenures. But we feel that it's no longer in vogue with democratic norms across the world. So we say no, this cannot be. That is one of those things. We set up a constitutional amendment committee since 2012. The process commenced 2012. When the committee produced that report, the delegates were not satisfied. They said no, you should do another job. Another committee was put in place. To harmonize the one they have submitted and to submit it. And it passed through, as we are talking, passed through the NAC. Their report, their recommendation for amendment was passed through the NAC sat, look at it diligently. And even after we saw it, we forwarded it to our lawyer so that we will not be doing something that is not according to the law. After they finished the correction, they sent it back to us. We were okay with it. Then at the National Executive Council we had in 2016, this constitution was was presented to them, and most of this, at least 3 or 4 people that you mentioned now, they were in that. 2 of them were members of the NEC, the executive committee. They were there, and everybody they saw and were okay, because some of the things we tried to change there. We told you we have investments. We have no investment in our constitution, which was 1978. Was never been said that Europe would go into business to have investment. Then, and we have seen some people, they don't have investment. Some unions, they are secretariat, they have, the only property they can say they have is their secretariat. They have mortgaged it. They even sold it outrightly. Maybe the NAC will just come up as part of the resolution attack. But we say, with all this monumental investment, we have to make sure that we have a constitutional backup, so that nobody will wake up one day and say selling up this thing. And if you look at our new constitution, which has been ratified and decided by the federal government, it's clearly stated there that on no circumstance should the union investment be mortgaged. Those are the things we try to do, and they were part of the decision. Just suddenly, you remember, if you are not contented, you should have what you don't want. You could have made it known at the meeting, but you did not say that. Rather, you choose to now, 2016, when the constitutional amendment was finally ratified, and the conference in session said we should send this thing to federal government for ratification and approval, and which we did. We sent it there. We are now waiting. 2017, after the December 9 conference, we sent it there, but because of bureaucracy of federal ministry, it was not concluded. We kept putting pressure until 2018. 2018, there was a change in leadership of the general secretary. The new general secretary came on board, and the Senate trustee to join this National Administrative Committee in 2016. So we start at NAC. When they raised this issue at NAC, that this constitution we are talking about, whether the NAC can sit on it, we said no. Once something has passed through NAC to National Executive Council, which is higher body, and the conference has approved it, you cannot start debating it at the NAC. So that if this thing has gone, maybe before you join this thing, it has come, but we are waiting for the approval. They did not object. The next thing, they wrote unilaterally, individually, the 2 of them, individually telling requesting that this constitution, the process should be stopped, that they should not do it again. Then which one of the councils, 2 out of our 13 councils, Babe and Ogun, wrote, and when the other councils, the other 12 councils, heard of what they have done, they were enraged. That is a decision collectively taken by the union, which is the position of the union. How can you now be writing that they try to create a different view? They now individually, those councils reacted. They wrote for federal ministry independently to say that no, this thing has passed through the normal process, and which the ministry to send it back to us. We made our explanation, and that they saw that there was no water in their case. So the constitution had been approved, gazetted, and of course ready for distribution to our members. So it was not like so you see why they were suspended is because of their individual rules failing and to utilize the grievance resolution mechanism duly provided for in our constitution. If you navigate it through National Administrative Council committee, if you cannot get it, you go to National Executive Council. If you cannot get it, you get to a conference. They didn't use all these things. They just went straight to ministry, telling them to solve this. And we feel it was an embarrassment. In fact, they wrote against us to the National Assembly. They wrote to virtually everywhere. So without, painting us, blackmailing this union, no responsible union will fold the sand, allow it. So that was why we felt it was right at the appropriate time, it did not took a decision that, okay, we should suspend them, which the National Administrative Committee of our union were the one that suspended them. And they have the power, even the president, nobody that cannot be discipline our union. Both the employees of the union and the elected ones.
Now that they've been suspended, and there's obviously a dispute in the union, what role has the Nigeria Labour Congress, which is the umbrella body of this union, what role have they played in settling these issues?
The role Nigeria Labour Congress have played is they're after what is good and what is right. Nigeria Labour Congress, I don't know whether, as my colleague have already said, they did not pass all the grievances procedure. Maybe they have wrote to the Nigeria Labour Congress about it, but had it been they wrote to the Nigerian Congress, or they went and let their complaint there, I know Nigeria Labour Congress will act based on the Constitution, on what is good and what is right.
Sorry, do they have to write to the Nigeria Labour Congress before they can intervene?
Sorry, let me clear this. Let me put and let me just add to what you have said. I want to let you know that it is this year they started writing. They started writing late last year, December to January. Like I told you, I said they wrote to even the National Assembly, they wrote to presidency, they wrote to Minister of Labour. They have written to every authority,
except
so, including NLC.
Okay.
So we were invited by NLC themselves and all the NAC members to Abuja in January. NLC tried to resolve this amicably, and what the board of connection that because we're moving at the same level, we tried to organize that delegate conference in February. We wanted to match it up with our annual National Executive Council meeting, so we were to do both of them together to minimize costs. The next thing they started writing, that was where they started writing. They now wrote and were saying that the National Executive Committee that convened that emergency conference under our constitution cannot constitutionally convene that national emergency conference. So the NLC now called of us together, spoke to us at length, and said, okay, we are the same union, we should make our peace. We should go and do the National Executive Council meeting and suspend delegate conference, emergency conference. That it's only the National Executive Council meeting that can convene. They said no. That means there will be no emergency conference. When we got to the National Executive Council meeting, the president put somebody moved motion for the convocation of the emergency delegate conference to ratify like I was telling you before. It's only delegate that can ratify the decision of deferment of the elections by 2 years. So the president, it was seconded. The president, the NLC president was there. His representative was there. The Register of Trade Union was there, live, other bodies. So they asked, is there any counter motion? There was none. He asked severally. None of them talked. In fact, I made that one of them that talked, he only talked as tried to say that the president should have a succession plan. He just advised, and he didn't move for any motion. So now, the conference was now fixed. The National Executive Council say passed the resolution that this conference must be held between that February and August. But the conference would have been held much earlier, but because of the COVID-19. So, but we now say the standing order is that it must be held between February and August. And August was passing, and that was why by July, the National Executive Council committee was mandated to fix the date. And we fixed the date. And they were trying, even the secretary, our suspended general secretary, was all the notices for that conference was sent out by him, invitations. They all partook, only for them. They now went to court that they said they should stop it. They didn't even tell us that everything like that, they don't want the conference. They only for us to start hearing later that I've got injunction, which were not served till now.
All right, so the other group members have formed an interim exco to see to the continued running of the union. Are you in support of this development?
There can be no government within government. There can be no republic within republic. The constitution of our union is very clear, and the labor law of this country is clear. You cannot build something on nothing. Well, how did they emerge to inform some group of people who were suspended? All the people that claim that committee, out of about 11 of them, I can let you know that 10 of them were on suspension. And so they now constitute themselves association of suspended members, now constituting themselves as there's something like that.
But are you not afraid that this could cause something like factions? Think about something like factions in your union.
Yes, I've told you we have 76 industrial unions with us. I mean branches with under our umbrella. 76 different from like Guinness, Nigerian Breweries, 7up. Out of these 76, we just had our conference. More than 80 of them, 70 of them attended.
All right.
So, and among the people, 7 of them that were not even there, that's why I told you, even the branch officers have come to disassociate themselves with the way the name is directed.
All right, so what are the plans for the way forward to settling all the disputes?
Okay, the way forward to settle all this dispute is through the proper channel. And we are always
What's
ready.
the proper channel?
The proper channel, as a committee has been set up, grievances committee that have been set up. We'll invite them. A letter has been sent to them for invitation to come and express their grievances. We look for the way forward for them.
That's very good. Well, your final word too, sir.
And the final word is that, like I said, we're all the same union. We are fighting. It's a selfless fight. Struggle. So we should embrace each other. All this thing that do is needless. Like I said, good enough. It's very magnanimous. That's part of the shortcoming. That's why they are just on suspension. So a new window has been created for them to come and navigate their grievance. So the committee has been put in place. And the committee will take all the grievance to the committee. The committee will now recommend to the National Executive Council meeting through the NAC. So I will hope at the end of the day we can come back and brace ourselves and be together. We are fighting for the benefits and welfare of our members in the factory. So this is not a personal, and there should be no sentiment.
My name is Comrade Eric Wagbai, the branch assistant secretary, 7up Portland Company branch. I'm from Ibadan plant, because in 7up we have a multi-unit. It's a multi-unit branch. Where 7up branch is here to pay loyalty and solidarity visit to the National Secretariat under the leadership of Comrade Latif Oyelekon and the NAC members for the good job they are doing. That we are not part of the dissident group that is saying they don't belong to, that have formed a parallel government.
I've been talking with Comrade Garba Ibrahim, the Deputy President of the Union, and Comrade Mike Olanriwaju, the Acting General Secretary of the National Union of Food, Beverages and Tobacco Employees Nigeria. Thank you so much.